Hello, friends. In the series of learning computer organization and design, today we are going to discuss about input output processors. So, here is the overview of the entire chapter. So, we have started learning about the peripheral devices, input output interfaces, and we are already covered till here, right? So, today's focus is entirely on these two topics, input output processor and serial communication. So I will introduce you the topic of input output processor and what is the functionality of IOP within the computer machine. And then later, I will also explain you the serial communication by taking a suitable example of the communication between the CPU and IOP devices. So let's start understanding about these two topics in more detail. So the first topic is the input output processor. So this is also known as IOP. So one and the same thing. So while explaining you the concepts related to input output processors, I will mostly be using this terminology IOP. So I have also been used here in this particular slide as well, right? So the point is that before this particular lecture or before understanding this chapter or the topic of input output organization, we were only aware of only one kind of processor, right? And that processor was only the CPU. But now we have defined another processor as well, which we are calling them as the input output processor. So the idea and the functionality that a processor is serving. So definitely I can expect the same functionality from this IO device processor as well. But now the job or the function of this processor is highly limited to the input output devices or the peripherals only. That is the basic point that we need to understand here. All right. So the next thing is that such kind of IoT processes do exist within the machines, but these devices always work under the supervision of the central processing unit only. Okay, means in order that these IOP devices would like to take the control over the memory bus, they need to first of all take the permission of CPU. Only then they can actually take the entire control of memory bus and can execute their own instructions. So again, I would like to let you know that by including all these points, I simply means that the CPU is always the master, okay, and this IOP is always working as a slave because it has to always work under the supervision of the CPU. It has to take the request or to take the signal from the CPU that now it can transfer the data in whichever way it wanted to. So this was the important point to understand. Now I will simply switch to this diagram and then side by side I will explain you the characteristics of this IOP processor. So you can see here that there is a central processing unit being available, right? And parallelly there is an IOP. Now IOP is actually attached to many of the peripheral devices. These PDs are nothing but the peripheral devices here. So various kind of peripheral devices are attached here, right? And they, if they want to communicate within the memory unit, okay, what they will do, they have to talk to the IOP. Only then the IOP will talk to the CPU, and once the bus is been granted, as it was the case of DMA, right? So then only the transfer of the data will take place. So this is how exactly the entire communication between the IOPs will always take place. So let's start understanding about the things. So processor with the direct memory access capability that communicates with IO devices. So what is this IOP? So this is the definition you could say. IOP is a kind of processor which we can have a direct access to the memory. See, when I am taking the control of this memory bus, so memory bus is always associated within the memory unit, right? So whenever the control has been taken of this memory bus from the CPU, then through this memory bus, IOP can directly talk to this memory unit. It is exactly the same procedure as we were doing in the case of DMA. But now, what will happen? Whenever the memory bus is being taken from the CPU, it always works in the cycle stealing mode, right? In the DMA, I have explained you two concepts, that how you can transfer the data through the DMA. One was through the burst transfer, and another was through the cycle stealing mode, right? So cycle stealing is simply whenever the processor wanted to transmit the data, it will steal, or it will take the grant of the buses memory bus from itself. So it will steal the one memory cycle of CPU in order to operate, or in order to proceed with its instructions. So that is the basic point here. Then next is, whenever the bus control has been given or granted to the IOP buses, then IOP can have work with its own instructions. So IOP has its own instructions. So that is the another point that we need to understand. It runs or executes its own instructions to talk to the memory unit in whichever way it wanted to deal with memory unit. Then the next point is that from this to this, so let me clear the erase entire thing from here first. Okay, so now the point is, this communication from the peripheral devices to the IOP processors from 1 to 2, this will take place through the IO bus. It means the communication is only taking places through the interface. Some interface is required from here to here, from 1 to 2. But from IOP to the memory unit, now the communication will take place exactly how it was taking in case of the direct memory access. So this is again the another important point in case of understanding the IOP processors. Once the CPU has granted the control of the bus to the IOP, now the IOP can execute its own instructions and can deal with this memory unit in whichever way. And once the task of this IOP is done, now it will release the bus of a memory bus back to the CPU as well. So this is the entire concept of this IOP and the CPU. So the important point again to ponder here is that the CPU is the master. So this is the master. This is the one who is the main controller or the manager of the entire execution operation. And the IOP devices simply acts as a slave. So now let's proceed with understanding how the bus actually has been taken. The memory bus is been granted by the CPU to the IOP. So this thing is basically done through the serial communication. So serially they are communicating one by one, they are communicating. So here I have simply taken one example of this serial communication when the CPU operations want to talk to the IOP operations. The idea and the terminology is that IOP wants to send the data or to transfer the data, or when it will be able to send the data. So it will always start from the CPU. CPU will send the instruction to test the IOP path. CPU will always start or initiate the instruction. It will test whether the IOP is free or what it is doing. So what the IOP will do? IOP will simply transfer its status word to the memory. Like this is the current status of the IOP operations, whichever the operation they are performing right now. And once if the status is okay, then what will happen? It will start the IOP instruction to the IOP. So it will actually start with the IO instructions. Now the IO instructions will start to be executed to the IOP. So this has been done by the CPU only. Okay, CPU will execute or start its input output instruction towards the input output processor. So then what will happen? Now, the IOP operations will access the memory for the IOP program. So, whichever the IOP instruction is to be executed or which program is to be executed, now it will have the access to the memory for that particular program or the instruction. So, once it is done with this, now what will happen? Now, at this point, at this particular stage, once the CPU has transferred the entire IO instruction to the IOP, okay, Now the CPU will continue with another program. CPU will keep itself busy. CPU will do its another chores, another works, okay, and will continue with the another program, and it will see there is a delay in between so that the IOP can perform the further task. So what the IOP operations will do? Access the memory for IOP program, and then it will conduct the IO transfer using DMA. So with the use of the DMA, we can conduct the transfer of the data now, and it will also prepare the status report, because once the direct communication with the memory unit is done, now the entire report, whether the communication was successful or not, this entire detailing has to be provided to the CPU. That is why. Then IO transfer completed and interrupt CPU. Now once the entire operation which was been assigned by the CPU to the IOP has been done, then it will transfer, it will include that transfer is done. Now it will start interrupting the CPU that I am done with the things. And how it will proceed with interruption of the CPU? It will request the IOP status. The CPU will say, okay, what is the status right now? CPU will would like to determine the status. After determining the status, the IOP will transfer the entire status word to the memory location, and then the system will, or the CPU will check the status word for the correct transfer of the data. And this is how the entire operation of data transfer among the CPU and IOP will take place. So the one important point was the CPU has initiated the task, and only then the IOP will send its status report. By checking the status, the CPU will grant the IO instruction to the IOPs. So once the IOP is done with the entire instruction part, okay, or the execution part, it will prepare a status report. So now, and also ping the CPU that I am done with the things. So CPU will ask for the IOP status report. So after displaying the status report, now the transfer of the data has successfully been done. So what we will do, the CPU will return back to its own original operations. So with this, students, I hope that you are able to understand today's session. Thank you so much for joining this session.